In August 2015, little did I know what was about to happen to me and the other 20 Peace Corps trainees. We sworn in as teachers volunteers, and I left excited and nervous to my village in the northwest of Cameroon, with only one advice in mind: be ready for the ups and downs. And they showed us that graph of emotions. After I explored the mountains and waterfalls, it was time to start school. There were 82 smiling faces from Form 2 and 3 waiting for me to teach them about math and biology. I have to admit, coming from teaching in the US, I was more confident than I should have been. Why, you ask? I thought to myself, I have thought before, how different could it be? Oh, how far away from reality I was. Those smiling faces started to change to confusion. I thought maybe they're not understanding my English. After all, it's not their first language nor mine. I tried to speak slower, write bigger, but nothing seemed to attract their attention to math. After a while, talking with other teachers and observing my students, my worst fear came true. My students could not read or write to the level they were supposed to. No wonder why they didn't get my math jokes. One day, thinking of what to do, I came across 1 grain of rice. Well, it really wasn't like that. But one day, thinking of what to do, I remember the story 1 grain of rice that I read a long time ago. This story talks about exponential growth. After some research, I found the story and decided to try it in my Form 2 math class. Of course, I had to adapt it to Cameroon, changing elephants to bikes, kings to fawns, cities to villages. Well, you get the idea. For the first time, my students were so interested in my class. They kept asking, how much rice is Rosemary, one of my students, will end up having at the end of the month? I knew it. The fact that they can't read or comprehend doesn't mean that they don't love to listen to stories. Well, that was that. And at the moment, I didn't really know the effect that 1 grain of rice could really have. Until Crispin, one of my students, told me one day, Madame Jamara, when are you going to read us one more story? What? A student was asking me for a story? I didn't have any more stories. That was it. But I needed to find more stories. I started writing my own stories. I have one about a birthday party that explains inverse and direct proportion. I wrote one called Princess Principal to explain simple and compound interest. I definitely became the story madame. I was running out of ideas, so I searched for math stories and I found a great book called Teaching Math Through Storytelling. Lucky me. It wasn't only stories, but how to write your own math stories depending on what you want. If you want to explain a concept, connect others, or just remember something. It was everything. That is when the whole idea came together. I am not the only one struggling to teach math. How about if I meet with the other math teachers around my village and exchange ideas? The first meeting, it was only me, my counterpart, and another teacher. And that was around 8 months ago. The last meeting, there were 11 teachers total. In those meetings, we have seminars on lesson planning, literacy in content area, classroom management techniques, how to write tests, how to write lessons that explore critical thinking, and the list keeps going and going. But what we're most proud of is the math book that we're writing together. It is called One More Story. This book is just a compilation of lesson plans for teachers. It follows the Form 2 Math National Schemes of Work and includes stories and student-centered activities to use in your classroom. Right now, we're doing a research on the effectiveness of the book. We have 4 participating schools, 2 public schools and 2 private schools. 2 of them are using the book and the other 2 are not using the book. We're testing the students in the same things, giving them pre-tests and post-tests, and comparing their scores. We're also doing peer observations and students' interviews. We hope that at the end, the students that have been taught using the book have an increase in their academic success. In reality, it hasn't been an easy process, but I am as excited about teaching as I was that first day of school a year ago.